Somerton Beach, Adelaide, December 1st, 1948. At dawn on a cold morning, a well-dressed but unidentified man was found propped against the sand dunes, his immaculate suit stained and his face deathly pale. He carried no identification, no wallet, and no appointment cards. Coroners later recorded his death as unexplained. Tucked into a fob pocket and later removed by police was a tiny torn scrap of paper reading Taman Shud. Investigators linked that scrap to a second-hand copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam and to an obscure, undeciphered hand-printed code found in the book. In the uneasy post-war atmosphere, these grim, cryptic clues, a torn book, an unreadable code, a missing identity, made the scene bitterly mysterious and demanded answers. At dawn, Glenelg and Adelaide constables found a still, frozen man propped against the dunes and realized this was no ordinary corpse. He wore a tailored suit. Every clothing label had been surgically removed and all pockets were meticulously emptied, leaving an eerie void where a name should have been. The coroner's autopsy on December 2nd, 1948, declared the cause of death unexplained. No blunt trauma, no obvious wounds, internal organs unmarred. Yet his skin was a livid waxen pallor. There were pinpoint hemorrhages, and his paradoxically intact clothing suggested something toxic and clandestine had occurred, setting teeth on edge. Investigators cataloged cigarette butts, tailor's marks, and a faint floral scent. Subscribe. Maybe it will help us solve the case. A tiny torn scrap reading Taman Shud proved pivotal when police matched it to a rare second-hand edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. That trail led to a battered copy recovered from a parked car and a nervous local woman who acknowledged ties to the book, pushing the inquiry into human shadows. When police examined the battered Rubaiyat, they found a strange hand-printed cipher and a scrawled telephone number. When detectives rang the number, they reached Jessica Jestin Thompson of Glenelg. She admitted owning the book, but gave evasive, sometimes contradictory answers, and refused to explain how it had left her possession. Forensic analysis hit several dead ends. Toxicology on the Somerton Man's blood and organs was inconclusive. Contamination and decomposition muddied the results, and pathologists disagreed on whether an undetected poison had caused the death. Handwriting experts could not definitively link the cryptic script to any single author. Newspapers in Adelaide and Melbourne seized the story, and theories multiplied. Soviet espionage, a clandestine love affair, or a private suicide. Each lurid hypothesis fed public appetite and press frenzy, tightening the knot of mystery and pushing investigators into desperate, divisive paths that left international suspicion unresolved. Years of stalled leads and public pleas stretched the mystery from the cold sand of 1948 into a funeral procession of decades, sleepless researchers, and rot-scented files. Incremental science chipped away. AFS fingerprint databases and ever more sensitive toxicology, liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, and trace organ analysis opened fresh windows but never landed a knockout. Calls to exhume the body culminated in July 2021, when investigators removed the Somerton Man from West Terrace Cemetery in Adelaide for DNA testing. That legal step exposed chains of custody and privacy fault lines. Dr. Derek Abbott and allied teams pursued highly degraded DNA with modern protocols. The rise of genetic genealogy after the 2018 Golden State Killer breakthrough made it possible to match across family trees. In 2022, researchers produced a candidate identity, and that single, spectral name reignited legal, ethical, and evidentiary battles between South Australian police, academics, and the public, ratcheting the tension toward a final revelation. Public outrage erupted in 2022 when Dr. Derek Abbott and genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick publicly named a candidate, Carl Charles Webb, based on degraded DNA and genetic genealogy. Their claim unleashed intense grief and suspicion among relatives identified through those family trees. South Australian authorities and the state coroner faced heavy pressure to accept the identification, but they declined, saying the forensic evidence was not conclusive. What was billed as closure instead raised jagged new doubts. The Rubaiyat cipher remained unsolved, the motive was unclear, and the exact toxic cause was never confirmed, leaving the case to bleed into colder uncertainty. From the grisly 1948 shoreline discovery to contentious 2022 genetic claims, the Somerton Man case pushed investigative journalism and forensic genealogy into the spotlight and sparked painful debates about privacy, consent, and what closure really means. Its mysterious cipher, unresolved cause of death, and the man's unknown identity inspired novels, documentaries, and obsessive online forums embedding the story in popular culture. More than a cold case, it stands as a haunting lesson in the limits of science and law, a stubborn enigma that resists tidy endings.